Hello, my name is Amanda Stadler, and I work with Community Partnerships Ozarks Alliance to End Homelessness. The Alliance serves as the regional planning body for homeless services and funding for our community. In that role, we work with partner agencies to coordinate crisis cold weather shelters. We know that on any given night, approximately 200 people are sleeping outside or somewhere not meant for human habitation right here in Springfield. Crisis cold weather shelters open on certain nights during the winter to provide a warm, safe place for these people to sleep. These shelters are often hosted by churches and are staffed by volunteers. This year, crisis cold weather shelters are facing a critical volunteer shortage, and we're asking the Springfield community to help meet this need. Often, new volunteers have a lot of questions about what volunteering at an overnight shelter looks like. Kristen Cornelius, the shelter coordinator at Grace United Methodist Church, has joined me today to talk about some of these frequently asked questions that volunteers have. So Kristen, can you tell us just a little bit about what a volunteer can expect and what they'll be doing during their shift at a shelter?
Well, when the volunteers are responsible for checking in the guests for the night. They are responsible for showing them their mats and their sleeping spots for the evening, welcoming new guests into the shelter who have never been there before, as well as overseeing the morning routines and the closing of the shelter.
Great. And an average volunteer shift is about 12 hours. And so are volunteers awake like through the whole night?
They're not. We take 2 volunteers at a time, and they take 4-hour shifts. So they can rotate and sleep for 4 hours at a time. They've got their own sleeping areas, which is set off in a different room. There is an air mattress provided for them. However, they do need to provide their own bedding when they come. So there is one volunteer that is awake all night long, but they rotate the shifts.
So definitely there's some teamwork involved there then.
There is.
And so what can a volunteer do if there's an emergency while they're at the shelter?
Emergency protocols are gone over during the training sessions. If their partner is sleeping at that point, they are to go wake their partner up if they need the assistance. And also the shelter coordinators are available for them at any point during the night.
So again, kind of that teamwork, definitely some support there. People aren't just like stuck, they're stranded by themselves.
That's right.
So of course, like I think probably the big thing on everybody's mind right now, so the pandemic and COVID. So we know that the shelters really take the safety of their guests and volunteers really seriously. So can you talk a little bit about the guidelines that shelters have put in place around COVID-19?
We have made many changes this year because of COVID. Temperature checks when people first come in the door. Masks are required at all times, except for when they are eating or sleeping. The mats are spaced out, so they're at least 6 feet apart, if not more. So we're really trying to keep everybody as safe as possible through this whole crisis.
So definitely some familiar steps that I think everyone else is already taking in the other places where they work or are out and about in the community. And then so one kind of last question that I think comes up as well. So why do people volunteer for something like this? What do they get out of the experience?
You know, people come to us and they want to help somebody. Well, this is a good way to reach out and help those. However, they also go away with a really good, deep feeling. They get to personally experience and help and interact with the homeless who truly are appreciative of their volunteering.
Yeah, I think it's a tangible experience, right? I think a lot of times when we give, you don't always see the recipient, whether it's a monetary donation or a gift of time. And I think with the shelters, that impact is right there. So.
Yes, the smiles on their faces says it all.
think that's a great note to end with. Is there anything else you want to add?
We just welcome any volunteers. You are welcome to get a hold of myself at Grace or the other volunteer coordinators. I can put you in touch with anybody you need. We are always looking for more people to reach out and help.
So thanks for your time today. And I think as Kristen mentioned, kind of for the next step for anyone that's interested, they can fill out a volunteer interest form at cpozarks.org/coldweather. And that is a general volunteer form for any of the cold weather shelters that are operating in our community. So when you fill that out, you will kind of then be connected with one of the shelters for the next step.